Hotep. Hotep means peace in the ancient Kemetic language, and Mwalimu means teacher in Kiswahili. It is the equivalent of the English word professor. Hotep. My name is Mwalimu, Melody Masheri Van Putten, and this is Mwalimu, dropping the knowledge. The connections. We have been on a journey of connections, connecting the dots of our history and culture. Progressive artistic movements, the poets, musicians, and writers of revolutionary change, is a two-part episode because it's just so much. These episodes will explore the revolutionary influences of our cultural arts, poets, musicians, and writers that educate and inspire. When I speak of revolutionary influences, I am specifically talking about cultural arts that shift our thinking, broaden our horizons, and ultimately lift up our sense of ourselves, and in the process, inspires and empowers. But let me begin with explanations from my esteemed professor mentors. Dr. Malana Karanga defines art as cultural production informed by standards of creativity and beauty and inspired by and reflective of a people's life experiences and life aspirations. Dr. Kariamu Welsh makes a similar statement. An aesthetic draws upon history, mythology, motif, and creative ethos of a group of people, always reflecting a commitment to the images and symbols of the originating ethnic group. Dr. Haki Madhubuti has written that culture is a mirror reflecting a people's values, beliefs, and standards. We will begin with the poets. As a poet myself, I can attest that poetry speaks to our hearts and makes challenging concepts of the mind penetrate our being for insights, clarity, inspiration, and resolve. Poetry, lyrical and powerful, is water that is life to the soul. The origins of poetry reach back into antiquity. The praise songs of the griots and biblical psalms, poetry, beautiful, searing truths, and soaring encouragements have enriched and nurtured humanity. African universities of ancient times, like the University of Sankore, taught poetry as a critical subject, along with mathematics, medicine, logic, music, and literature. Poetry is universal and global. Many of us were introduced to poetry as children via European poets, from Homer to Wordsworth, from Joyce to Frost. Today, we celebrate any number of African American poets, from the late great Maya Angelou to the shining star named Amanda Gorman. During the transformative 1960s, the poets, powerful and provocative, fearless, introduced a generation of young people to life-changing consciousness. From 1965 to 1975, the Black arts movement poets included James Baldwin, Maya Angelou, Amiri Baraka, Lorraine Hansberry, Nikki Giovanni, Sonia Sanchez, Haki Madhubuti, Mari Evans, Andre Lorde, and the first African American winner of the Pulitzer Prize, Gwendolyn Brooks. These poets were and are more than poets. They are teachers, activists, community leaders, and institution builders. Many are university professors and are revered in the academy as well as in the community. One of the most famous African American poets that is still often included in the canon of poetry taught to school students is Langston Hughes. Born in Joplin, Missouri in 1901, Hughes was also a novelist, social activist, playwright, and a significant contributor to the 1920s literary movement known as the Harlem Renaissance. Harlem Renaissance poets include Claude McKay, Countee Cullen, Arna Bontemps, James Weldon Johnson, Jessie Redmond Fawcett, and Georgia Douglas Johnson, among others. Langston Hughes is credited for creating jazz poetry, a form of poetry which is not only lyrical but rhythmic. His poetry also exalted and promoted racial pride, dignity, and beauty in ways that were novel at the time. For example, his poem, My People, published in Crisis magazine, not only spoke of the beauty of our people, but in the beauty of Blackness, practically unheard of in 1923. The night is beautiful, so the faces of my people. The stars are beautiful, so the eyes of my people. Beautiful also is the sun. Beautiful also are the souls of my people. Now that was published in Crisis in October of 1923. Another Langston Hughes poem, Negro, inspired one of my own poems. I am a Negro, black as the night is black, black like the depths of my Africa. I've been a slave. Caesar told me to keep his doorsteps clean. I brushed the boots of Washington. I've been a worker. Under my hand, the pyramids arose. I made the mortar for the Woolworth building. I've been a singer. All the way from Africa to Georgia, I carried my sorrow songs. I made ragtime. I've been a victim. The Belgians cut off my hands in the Congo. They lynch me still in Mississippi. I am a Negro, black as the night is black, black like the depths of my Africa. My poem, Conscious, inspired by Langston Hughes. I am a culture worker, African through and through, African in spirit, born in the diaspora. I've been an educator. School districts told me to teach the achievements of the West. I taught them in the context of Africa's accomplishments. I've been an activist. Under my hand, consciousness rises. I made the mortarless building of Ashe University. I've been a singer too. From the spirit of Africa to the Philadelphia born in me, I carried my passion calls without apology. I planted seeds. We'll be right back.